Welcome to part 2 of 3 for painting this lovely duckling, and today we're going to focus on solely painting that beak. There's a lot of detail in there, isn't there? But don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So let's get the brushes wet and let's get started. First thing I want to do with the beak is just soften down the pencil lines around the edge. That's because when we paint that beak, I don't want them pencil lines to show through. So using a putty eraser, one of these malleable ones like that, all stretchy and bendy, very lightly, just dab it, make a little point like that. Just soften the edges of this. Now I know that we've got that blade of grass going straight through the beak on the photograph, but I've taken that away. I don't want to paint that because one has been nibbled on, as you can see, but also just blocks the beak and it looks odd, doesn't it? Colour wise, now we've already got this colour, that one there, off camera, mixed up, and if you remember, that particular one was a mixture of phthalo blue and ultramarine violet. I'm using this one as well, just in places, and that was a mixture of burnt umber and Payne's grey. And our black one, if you can recall that one, is French ultramarine and burnt sienna. But we do need a little bit of pink, don't we? Look at the bottom of the beak, as you can see on that reference photograph, and the tip of the beak as well. So the pink wise, I'm going to go for a small amount of Opera Rose. Opera Rose. That one there, look. There you go. Got a big hole in the middle of mine there, look. I'm using a size 4 and a size 2 today. First thing to do is dampen down the beak. Don't soak it through. Just very lightly dampen it. Be careful not to go over it too much because you'll end up moving that pencil on there. And you lose your little pencil marks really well. That's a very light wash of water on there, as you can see on the screen there. That's all you need, something like that. Let it soak into the paper. You don't really want it floating on the paper because then the paint will also float. Let's go for the phthalo blue and ultramarine violet first of all. Just drop that onto the beak. If it's too rich, we'll soften it down as we go along. Be quite mindful where the edge is as well, because you don't want to go over that edge if you can help it. Otherwise you'll end up with a very wide looking beak. Around the nostril. The more you disturb that pencil underneath, the more it will disappear. I do very often go over the pencil first of all with a colour, let it dry, then start adding the washes over the top. Because then there's more chance that the pencil marks will stay put. All the way down to there. Let's grab our pink colour, our Opera Rose, and drop that in. I didn't even bother washing the brush out then. Don't tell anybody, okay? A very light hint of it. I don't want it too pink, not really. And just a touch coming down the side of the beak there. Back to our bluey violet colour. Once it soaks into the paper enough, you should be able to just add just a hint of a line around here. Then just underneath that nostril to there. Just a hint. Let's tidy up that edge just a fraction more. I'm not happy with that. And bring it right up. There you go. It's a nice gentle curve all the way around. Now I'm going to give this a quick dry with a hairdryer, and then we can paint the bottom part of the beak as well, just for those foundation washes. We can fine tune it thereafter by lifting off paint and adding details on. Now it's nice and dry. Got a bit of pink just overlapped there. I think I'll leave that there for now. I'll sort it out later on by lifting that paint off. Do the same on the bottom part of the beak as well. Notice that the bottom part of the beak is a little bit more pink than the top, isn't it? So we've got more pink around there, a bit like a V really, isn't it? Then blue in this section here. So go for the lightest colour first of all, go for the pink. So that there and that there. There you go, that was quick. Then go for your blue. Give it a mix because some colours do tend to separate sometimes. Then add your blue in. Like that. Now I want that to dry, and I can just go over the top of that again with another layer. Just to make it slightly darker. What I do need to do is add a final wash over the top part of the beak. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go straight in with the paint first of all. Go for your blue. You can see it's slightly darker around here, isn't it? So I'm going to very lightly tap it in. All the way up towards the nostril. And then beyond to there. And probably a touch more around there as well. I'm thinking about texture at the same time here. Clean damp brush and very lightly twiddle that, tiny circles, to soften down the bottom edge and the top edge as well. You don't want this line being too sharp. Soften that one there just a touch. Okay, a bit more of that now. Let's go around the nostril. A bit of a hump around those, isn't there? Like an island in the middle. Let's go around that area there. Very carefully paint it around. Your nostril in the middle. This is your nostril here. That sort of hooks around there, fairly close on this side, isn't it, towards the nostril. I'm going to put a bit of colour in there, but not much. It needs to be quite dark, doesn't it? We'll be using our black in there soon. And then up and around there. Thinking about the shapes all the time here. Think about the shadows as well. Got a bit of a shadow going on there. That needs to be darker than that, yeah? A bit deeper in colour. And to do that, just go in with another layer over the top. Like that. Bring it back to a point. Every layer of paint you add in, of the same mix, the same consistency, once this is dry, will get darker and darker and richer and richer. A few little taps here and there, just to break up the edge. And probably a touch more down there too. So you can go in with a little bit of our browny colour now. Just a touch though, not much. A tiny amount in there as well. Go towards about there and then down. The same around the nostril. We'll blend this in a minute. Not too much around there though, that's about it, isn't it? It's all about tweaking and fine tuning now on this. And then adding the darkest colours in. I'm going to do the same as I've done around here, down there. And maybe add a few more extra details in the mix as well. But not much. We don't want to go too detailed with this painting. And I think this is just about detailed enough. We do need to emphasise the overall shapes. And we can't do that without having those contrasting colours underneath. And also the richer tones as I'm putting on here. The richer the tone, the more contrast you'll get from the areas around it. And you'll find this edge down here, the white area, is the highlight, isn't it, on the edge of that top part of the beak. So like we did around the eye, those little tiny marks, put a few small marks within there as well, but not many. We still need this area to be slightly brighter than there. And we know we can make it brighter as well, can't we? We know what you can use for that. I know that white paint. That one just there. And we'll do the same thing for the bottom part of the beak as well. Using a damp clean brush, very lightly lighten the top part of the beak and some kitchen roll out of this lot. Preferably clean-ish. And lighten just that edge there, look. You can do that probably down towards the tip as well, but not much. Just to lighten. That softens it down just a fraction, doesn't it? Well, let's finish off the bottom part of the beak now, and then I'll go in with the darkest colours. I know, really dark colours. Then we'll top that with the lightest colour. And I bet you know what that will be, don't you? Oh yeah. Just working my way around the beak as well, just lifting off a little bit of paint here and there, in order to create the highlights where we can see them on that photograph. Especially around the nostril, and as I mentioned earlier, the top edge of that beak. Okay, now for the darkest colour. You know what that one is? Our black. That one there. The French ultramarine and the burnt sienna. And you want this to a creamy consistency. Not thick, but creamy. Start off with the nostril. And also make sure there's hardly any paint on that brush. Look at the shape as well. It's more of an oval, isn't it? Using the very tip of the brush. Painting that oval. It's tiny, isn't it? It really is. There's a small section just inside that nostril that we can just about make out. I know, very small section. Then where we've got the feathers coming towards the edge of the beak, just add a few tiny dark marks around there. And that will add a little bit more contrast there as well, especially when we start to paint those feathers. Flick out a few little lines here and there. Take a note how dark it is down here as well. Really dark. Now we need two highlighting lines, don't we? So we've got one line there, which is going to be the central joint of the beak. And we need one just above it as well. So we've got one highlight there. But I think we need one above that as well, don't we? So I'm going to go back to my blue a minute. So where this edge is here, that's the other part of the joint of the beak, isn't it? And then we've got a highlighted area just above it, which I can pop some highlights in there very shortly and make it really stand out. Do notice as well that when you paint this very fine dark line underneath the beak, it doesn't go all the way across, does it? Put a little bit underneath that area there, but it's a bit paler towards the middle area. Now for the white. I want this to be creamy. If you remember in the first part, this is a mixture of white gouache and watercolour white. But any white gouache or anything like that will be fine. I want to put some highlights in here now, starting from the left hand side of the beak. Just tapping in a few little marks here and there where you can see on that reference photograph where it's really bright. This area here needs brightening up as well, doesn't it? Don't just paint a line though. Tap a line, like this. You've got to tap it all the way along. A little bit slightly higher there. Barely touching the paper. And if you add too much, don't worry, let it dry. Then you can just paint around that with some watercolour. Or even over the top of it as well. But very lightly in one go, otherwise it will just disturb and blur away. The same towards the edge of the beak. A few little taps here and there, and I'll blend that shortly. I don't want that too bright on there. Not too bad towards the tip of the beak. A bit of a reflective highlight down here, but not much. We can also see white along here as well. A bit of a highlight just there. Okay, wash that brush out, give it a dry, so it's semi-dry like that. Then very lightly soften that white on the edge of this beak here. Tiny circles again. Just knock it back a touch. The same towards the tip. So that still adds a bit of a highlight there, doesn't it? But not much, it's very subtle. The same on this one. Very lightly soften it. This area is okay, actually, I need that quite bright. Work your way around doing the same thing now. Looking where it's brighter and where it's not quite as bright, so water that white paint down when you do. If I go for my bluey purple colour again, I can have this just underneath this white now that it's dry. To fine tune those white highlights. So that will do for the beak. Now in the next part we'll work on those feathers and try and make it look a little bit more realistic.